We have had an absolute banger of a year for video games. Honestly, we can give the majority of the industry a round of applause. It's been absolutely fantastic. We've had incredible games to play, and it only continues to get better. And we're going to be rounding out this year, for the most part, with Starfield, a new IP from Bethesda, which by itself is a very high bar to reach. And there's a lot of people that are excited about it. I'm one of them. I'm what you would call a Bethesda enjoyer. But it's not just people being excited about Starfield. Starfield is also... Guys, it's driving some people crazy. Now, if you followed the game at all up to this point, you've noticed that the conversation around the game has slowly devolved over time. At first, it was blind optimism, colorful speculation, followed by a very detailed Starfield Direct. Now, we have more leaks than I have ever seen in a game's release, probably ever, and even an arrest. It's been a wild ride up to the release of Starfield, and as someone that's been on the outside looking in, it looks even crazier to me. I found an article covering Starfield's latest bit of drama from IGN titled, "Starfield's Boundary Reached, Drama Explained." The article starts off by saying, Starfield is in the hands of reviewers, influencers, and some players who have illegally obtained it. And while sharing any real details is against the terms set out in Bethesda's non-disclosure agreement, some tidbits have made it online regardless. One video of alleged leaked gameplay showed a player running in the same direction for around 10 minutes before a boundary reached message appeared on the screen. Open up the map to explore another region, or return to your ship, giving the player the option to fast travel back to their ship, open the planet map, or close the message. Choosing to close the message would allow the player to continue for a few steps before hitting an invisible wall that halted their progress. The article continues to say, at first, the gameplay contradicts Bethesda's messaging, including an August 22nd tweet from head of publishing Pete Hines. In response to a player asking if they can explore, quote-unquote, the whole entire planet after landing on it, Hines said, "Yup, if you want, walk on, brave explorer." So there's been a lot of colorful conversations around this boundary reached issue in Starfield. And to be honest with you, I feel like I'm actually on both sides of the argument where, like, on one hand, I'm sitting here going, they definitely use the wrong language when describing Starfield, whether it's the Starfield Direct or in the tweets that they've had as well. But that's something we've always seen from a lot of different developers, especially when these guys are really proud of their projects. They tend to be a little bit more boisterous with the things that they're discussing and a little bit more colorful with the language that they use. So it's definitely on them for making players or leading players to believe something that the game is not. However, it's also on the player as well for not setting realistic expectations for the games that we play in the first place. We have to think about things like scope creep and things like that. Think about realistic scope for a console game in the first place. Now realize something like No Man's Sky is not nearly as graphically intensive, nor does it have nearly as many mechanics or item permanence or a lot of different things that Starfield has. So, to be honest with you, what they're showing is actually far above what my expectations were for Starfield. When I first saw the Starfield Direct, I thought we were just going to have very specific points on a planet that we were going to be able to explore. Those areas would be randomly generated, except for like capital cities and settlements and stuff like that. So this actually does go above what my expectations were for the game. Now, that's just me. I just set more realistic expectations on the game because I know what Bethesda is capable of. I know what the technology is capable of, and I'm also keeping in mind that the game has to release on the Series S due to parity, so it can't be that big and that intensive on the CPU, GPU, or the memory. That's not to say, again, that Bethesda should have used better language when describing the game in the first place, but that's also the player taking what they said and running with it as well. So the developers need to do a better job of tempering expectations without making the game sound like it's not going to be fun or interesting, but the players also need to kind of take what developers say with a grain of salt. The article continues to say, some fans, upon seeing the alleged leaked gameplay, have therefore claimed Bethesda is lying and that Starfield isn't a fully explorable galaxy as was promised. However, some people currently playing the game have vaguely rebuked those complaining. As reported by Kotaku, streamer Darius Fears tweeted to deny Boundary Reach message as a persistent issue. Quote saying, "You guys probably already saw this screenshot flying around and people saying, you can't explore planets, Bethesda lied. Guys, there's nothing stopping you from exploring the planet. It just may be a loading screen or you may have to land in the next spot to continue exploring the same planet." Windows Central's Jez Corden appeared to agree, stating, "It's not accurate info nor the full story. Can't say more than that really. Wait for the review embargo to lift." He continued to say, "The half-truths being spread are done in bad faith sometimes." And he's not lying about the whole half-truths are being spread in bad faith. The more I looked into it, the further down the rabbit hole I went and realized that the majority of the tweets exposing Starfield for having poor mechanics or not living up to the promises it made is actually coming from a PlayStation gamer. King Thrash S-Class Gamer has been the one posting most of the things on Starfield, showing how different graphics don't look the way that it's supposed to, how frame rates aren't going to reach what they're supposed to, and also apparently how you can't go to gas planets and walk on them. I thought it was actually funny that they actually put in that readers added context because they thought people might want to know that Saturn, like any gas planet, does not have a solid surface on which a spacecraft can land. I'm sorry. I had to share that. That was pretty funny. And I think that's crazy that a lot of this conversation was actually just spurred because of console warring, which is just bonkers to me. Even though it's really both sides poking and prodding the other one here or there, right? Because earlier this year it was Xbox fans talking about Final Fantasy 16, and then later now it's PlayStation fans talking about Starfield, and they make this happen themselves. They bring this drama out of nowhere over this weird console war stuff because not only do you need to have the best games you can possibly get, but you need someone else to suffer for you to be able to enjoy it the proper way because they didn't make the same choices in what they wanted to purchase as you did. They're multi-billion-dollar companies. What are you guys doing? They're not teams that you're playing for. These aren't countries that you're fighting for. Just chill out. Like, I realize that, like, this doesn't mean anything to the people that are in that console war stuff, but just, like, can't we just take a minute to just enjoy the fact that we've had so many great games come out this year? That everybody, no matter what console that you play, like me, I have my Xbox, I have my PlayStation, I got my Nintendo Switch, I have my PC. I've been able to enjoy tons of games this year. It's been an absolute blast, not only talking about games, but being able to actually play them as well. Let's just be happy that we're eating good right now. Especially because I don't know what's on the horizon for next year. I need to look into that. And by the way, this isn't to say that I'm any stranger to console warring, okay? I used to lord over everybody with my ultimate system, the Virtual Boy. People were blind to how amazing it was. Then again, I also realized that I am probably blind as a result of using it in the first place. And then I had the Sega Dreamcast. And then everybody bought a PlayStation. But that's besides the fact. Let's just enjoy what we got. The fact that a lot of these conversations are spurred by weird online battles to begin with is the main reason why most people, when waiting for a game to release, should just wait for the game to release, regardless of what anybody is saying up to the release of that game. Unless it's something that was actually in early access and people actually had the opportunity to play it and are not under an NDA and can just discuss the game to begin with. This is a game that's on lockdown. Anything you hear, you need to take with a grain of salt because who knows? We're not going to know for at least a few more days. That's the main reason why I haven't really been talking about the game to begin with, because I don't know anything about it. I can't tell you anything about the game because I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be word for word what they said at the Starfield Direct or whether it's going to be something completely different. When the game is actually released and then I get to play it, then I get to talk to you guys about it. Let's just enjoy what we got. We've had a great year for gaming. We're going to continue to have a great year for gaming. I'm looking forward to Lords of the Fallen. I think it's actually shaping up to be a really good reboot for that game. I'm a Souls-like enjoyer, so obviously I'm excited for it. You have PlayStation fans that are still looking forward to playing Baldur's Gate 3. Xbox is still going to get Baldur's Gate 3 before the end of the year as well, which is awesome to hear. there's still other things to look forward to. I'm playing Armored Core 6 on the side right now. Fantastic game, by the way. I'm going to do a video on that eventually. Anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. Get it out there. Stay in the habit of making videos. Continue to talk to you guys. And that's about it. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitch. Leave a comment if you'd like. If you didn't like the video, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Maybe I'll get you next time. Stay cool. Stay righteous. Stay safe, my friends. And peace.